All right, joining us now is Intellistake CEO Jason Dussault. And Jason, look, the elections are coming up in 4 days. And, you know, they say that elections are about the economy, stupid. And I think we've had a much stronger economy than people realize. I think there's a lot of problems with it, but I think it's a lot stronger. And the latest news we got just a couple of days ago is that private sector businesses are adding jobs, something like 15,000 a week, just over the last month, or at least so far since the fall began here in this country. Jason, what's your assessment overall of the economy? You know, if you had to give it a grade, are we A, B, C, incomplete? You have them in class. What's your grade?
Well, I would say, of course, it's always a little bit incomplete. It takes a little bit of time for a lot of these, for the economy to catch up with what the president is currently doing. I mean, every single time this guy gets on a plane and then gets off a plane, he's bringing billions of dollars into the economy. He's bringing in new jobs and he's bringing in revenue through tariffs. So, yeah, I mean, I think you've definitely got a strong economy. I would give it C plus to B. But once a lot of these policies are, brought in and we're seeing these jobs come back to America and the tariffs come into the Treasury, we're going to rock up to an A.
That's fine by me, but I know a lot of people hear C plus or B and they think, that's it, I'm a bad student. In the old days, that meant you were learning the lesson. All right, Jason, the last time you joined me, you talked about how crypto markets and the Trump policies on crypto are actually bolstering parts of this economy and helping us move into a more stronger, modern economy.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'd much rather the leaders of our country succeed. I want everybody to succeed. I look to the leaders, I look to people who are successful, and I follow what they're doing, or at least, consider it. And there's no doubt about it. There's been a lot of press about, Bitcoin going down recently. But when you take a look at, what my partner loves to say is when in doubt, zoom out. Bitcoin's up over the last year, 62%. To put that into, relation to gold's only up 42%. In the last year. I love having a businessman as president of the United States. And, the fact that he's not ignoring what's going on in the digital economy is very, very important. And there's a lot going on. It's really not about just about Bitcoin. Global ETFs just saw a record inflow this week. JP Morgan said adoption of the U.S. stablecoins could be over $1.4 trillion in 2027. We're moving into a crypto economy, and I want the president involved in it so that he's aware, right, rather than ignoring the future.
Jason, I want to talk about another really big elephant in the room when it comes to the American economy, and that's NVIDIA. It is now a $5 trillion company. And so much of this market rally over the last several years has really been about that. I would say that the mid-2000s turnaround in the markets that went all the way through maybe even 2014 was the Apple rally. I would say that. And I would say that this is the NVIDIA market. And I talked about this earlier in the program. President Trump has a really tough tightrope to walk. With the markets so reliant on NVIDIA and the whole AI spending thing, but with a $5 trillion valuation, if he's going to do anything that would really hurt some of NVIDIA's profits, this might be the time to do it because they can certainly absorb it now, correct?
Yeah, I mean, listen, we're going through a revolution right now. You're going through a huge shift in the digital economy and also AI. You've got, two of these massive behemoths that are going to change our way of life in our world. And there's a couple of pain points there. One is going to be power. Another is, of course, compute and data. And that draws directly into the NVIDIA story. We are in a world economy. And so you're going to have to work with your partners around the world, but it doesn't mean that you let your partners take advantage of you. So it is a tight line. And, Trump, I'm sure, NVIDIA definitely came up in the conversations with Xi Jinping in China this week. And he's got to walk that tightrope. So, yeah, it'll be interesting to see how that all shakes out. There is a line, keep your enemies closer, right?
Yeah. You posted this interesting post earlier this week about JP Morgan and Jamie Dimon, which I really think is interesting. For those of you who don't remember this, or maybe you weren't following this kind of news, hey, my show's only been on for 11 months, so how could you? Jamie Dimon used to be a real trash talker on crypto. I mean, a real trash talker. He called it a fraud. He called it a joke. And now JP Morgan's all about crypto and doing that business. Gee, I wonder what changed his mind, Jason. Can you tell us?
Yeah, I mean, he's not the only one. A lot of people love to poo-poo new technology and, stay in the past. And that's what I love so much about our current administration is that they see the future and they see other companies who are actually getting a lead on America. And so, yeah, I mean, I love seeing headlines like this because, as I said, he's not the only one. Bitcoin is undeniable. Stable coins are undeniable. I saw this viral clip that went up of somebody taking a video of Trump at some event. And I'm a huge proponent of dealing with our debt through stablecoin in repricing gold. You can look that up on the net. There's a bunch of videos on this concept. But Trump sort of, in an off comment said, oh, well, maybe I'll just wipe out the debt with crypto. And I think there's something to that.
Anyway, Jason Dussault, thank you so much for joining us. Have a great week.
Thank you for having me.